Welcome back, friends of Frisbee and folks at home, to the second day of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Ultimate Championships. My name is Blair Monroe, and we are here to talk you through a great matchup that we have for you right now between Takapuna Grammar boys team and Katikati College boys team in our open division. Following that, in a couple of hours' time, we'll have the grand final for the women's division, and then following that, the grand final for the open division. It's been a fantastic day here and yesterday as well in Crown Park in Taupo. The conditions are wonderful. The sun is high in the sky. There's very, very little wind. It's great, great weather for playing Ultimate Frisbee. And we're just seeing these two teams, Katikati playing out of the green uniforms, Takapuna Grammar playing out of the blue. Just warming up on field, dialing in a few last-minute passes before we kick things off. Just a reminder of the rules of Ultimate for those at home. Matches are 50 minutes long for the purposes of this tournament, or until one team scores 15 points. When the first team to score 8 points does so, they will take half, so there'll be a short break to allow the teams to reconsolidate and rehydrate. At full time, if there's no result, a new points cap will be created. The point being played will be concluded. We'll add 1 to the highest score, and then teams are just racing to that number. And as Ultimate is a self-officiated sport, we don't have referees, but the players have taken it upon themselves to learn the rules and make calls and resolve those calls on the field as the game proceeds. So it really is shaping up to be a great match. We've seen Shirley boys put on some impressive Ultimate for us over the last couple of days. And Katikati's most recent match was an absolute nail-biter against Shirley boys. Just a hotly contested final point. A great, great result. Both teams leaving everything they had on the field. And so that will begin the first, the 50 minutes rather, of our game. And so we're playing five-a-side in a slightly smaller field. Katikati College versus Takapuna Grammar. What potential for a great matchup ahead of us. We've seen some fantastic athleticism on display from both of these teams. Some really great and precise Ultimate. And so it's going to be really, really exciting to see just how these two teams fare against one another. And Chris Williams has the disc for Takapuna as they come down on defense with the first pull of the game. And the signal for readiness is given. Great high pull, lot of float, plenty of opportunity for the Takapuna Grammar defense to get under position. And we can see that they're throwing down a zone defense. We've seen quite a lot of zone defense from some of the more competitive teams this weekend. And that's exactly what a zone defense is looking to do. It's looking to clog space rather than necessarily isolate players. Force a lower percentage throw. Chris Williams with a big forehand blade just outside the hands of Boniface. And so we'll see that same zone again. So Boniface taking in that deep spot, looking to isolate any deep cuts that develop for Katikati. Byford on the far sideline. Working all the way over to Hudson on the near sideline. Back to Byford, straight through the middle of that zone. Some great disc movement by Katikati. Byford again. A nice high shot over the top of the zone. Great bid by Boniface. Not quite enough to stop Nicholson pulling that one down for Katikati as they take the first point of the game. Some really clever and innovative defense that we're seeing from Takapuna. And it did, in fact, generate the turn that they were looking for. But despite the best efforts of number 21 for Takapuna, Williams, putting a shot up to close out their first point, just slightly overthrown on the receiver, giving Katikati College an opportunity to respond with one of their own. And a great working through that zone, some fantastic zone offense on display that allows them to just chip away, drive up the middle of the field, and close out their first point. So Katikati College will now come down on defense. The big left-handed pull. Boniface to Williams. To Barnes. Williams again. And so we're seeing Katikati College use instead a person defense. They're looking to target those individual matchups they think they can beat. Williams, big fakes, trying to shift the mark. Finds Boniface. Great shot outside the fingertips of Barnes, giving Katikati College an opportunity. Great pressure from Takapuna generating that turn. Williams to pick up. High shot over the top. Great chase and following that disc, but not quite enough. Just outside the reach of Takapuna, giving Katikati College another offensive opportunity to work their way back up a long field. Byford trying to reset, but a player movement through interfering with the reception. And so calls have been made, players taking it upon themselves again, as we mentioned earlier, to discuss what happened. And so the resolution of that call will be that Katikati College maintain possession of the disc. Great commitment there, making sure that possession of the disc is maintained. Run-through defense by Takapuna, giving them possession now as Barnes takes the disc on the near sideline. A good hammer. But it finds ground. Katikati College initiating the offense. Again, Boniface with a great run-through block. Takapuna Grammar on the doorstep. Barnes to initiate the offense. Signaling, trying to get something moving downfield, trying to create an option. Williams with a laser beam just inside the end zone. Aiden Kerr with the reception to put Takapuna on the board as the score goes 1-1. Great field awareness, great body positioning, making sure that the first point of contact after securing the disc was within the bounds of the end zone. Takapuna to come down on defense now. Williams again with the pull. Spur. Center field, a lot of pressure from the Takapuna defense, but still able to work the disc, looking to chip holes away through, targeting that far sideline now. Some great disc movement. Good bid by Williams, but it's not enough. Working around the Takapuna defense, some great connections, an open receiver. A little bit of confusion as to whether or not that was in. Nicholson to reinitiate the offense outside of the zone. Great close by Katikati College to go 2-1 over Takapuna. Some fantastically contested ultimate here as we close out the 10th minute of the match. Some very, very long points being played by this team, but they're still showing no signs of fatigue yet, which is absolutely fantastic to see. It's what we'd like to see in ultimate. A lot of hard running, a lot of effort, a lot of grit, an unwillingness to give up on the disc. And I think on some level, it's less to do with the competitive nature of the sport and more to do with the idea of just chasing a piece of plastic around is an incredibly fulfilling experience. And if you're watching at home and you haven't ever thrown a Frisbee before, I urge you, find some friends, head out to a park, throw a disc around, and have the time of your lives. So Katikati College giving the signal for readiness, answered by Boniface for Takapuna. Paul with a lot of float, fielded by Finn Barnes. To Williams, waiting for something to develop downfield. They've set up a long stack on the far side of the field, slashing across the front to create an opening. A nice gain, resets to Williams up the far sideline to Boniface. Fantastic disc movement that we're seeing here. Lefty forehand to Barnes. Great hand block by Katikati to generate that turnover. Luke Spur with the disc to initiate the offense. A big huck. A lot of angle on it. Barnes gets up over the Katikati offense to generate that turn. Stays back to give Chris Williams a nice reset option. Big fake, looking to shift that mark. Great open shot. A nice outside in, a high outside edge to that disc, allowing it to curve out and back around. Just making it that little bit easier for the receiver to ensure that the defender isn't in position to do it. You can see that cut turning, generating that separation, targeting the side where the defender wasn't able to block, making a nice pass there. As the score goes 2-2, still anyone's game. Teams just trading now. Nice pull fielded well by Katikati as they initiate their offense. A lot of quick disc movements, some give-and-go passes, looking to follow the disc to try and force the defense out of position. Takapuna sending down that same zone. And attempted a greatest. A player's inbound-outbound status is determined by the last point of contact before they make contact with the disc. So on offense, it is reasonable, although very, very difficult, to jump from the field, make the contact with the disc, and throw it back inbounds. So a great attempt. Unfortunately, the player was out of bounds before managing to leap for the disc. But Katikati close out anyway after generating another turn. There's Arundel for that score. Spur just through the outstretched arms of the defender. Some great work by Katikati there. We'll see that again. Great bid from Takapuna, but not quite enough. Katikati going up by 1 to make the game 3-2. Looks like a timeout was called. So teams, for the purpose of the tournament, do have 2 timeouts to be used whenever they like. It's a great opportunity. It's a small intermission to allow the teams to figure out what's working well between them, what connections they're able to hit and consistently, and what the defense is doing to shut them down. Because if you're aware of what the defense is doing to shut you down, it becomes that much easier to try and develop a game plan to work around it. Now, we've seen Takapuna throw down a zone. Katikati College have typically stuck more to a person defense, a match defense. So we might see whether or not Takapuna feel as though they've got those matchups able to be made such that they can work with that person defense as well. I'm seeing a lot of height, a lot of athleticism on that Katikati side. A lot of disc skill on the Takapuna side as well. And so that could be something that's informed the Takapuna defensive strategy, that recognition that occupying that space is a more efficient use of their energy than would be trying to isolate some of those taller, faster players on the Katikati side. Arundel with the disc for Katikati to pull. Williams to field the disc center field. Looking to initiate something, sends a big huck up. Finn Barnes underneath it. Pulls it down just before leaving the back of the end zone. A great put there by Williams. Some fantastic connections to tie the game back again, 3-3. A closely contested game like this is exactly what you want to see. No team letting another team's score go unanswered. Williams with a big pull, a lot of float, exactly what you're looking for a zone defense, giving you time to set up strategy. But they look to have switched back to a person defense. Great bid by Boniface. Able to generate that turn, just tracking that disc in space, stretching his hand out, managing to get contact before the Katikati College receiver manages it. A great jumping catch, a bookends, a double happiness, scoring the block and then securing the subsequent point. Fantastic performance there by Takapuna. A great break to swing the momentum back in their favor for the first time. Takapuna to come down on defense again. Now the effectiveness of a zone differs in still conditions. When there's a lot of wind, any high discs are much harder to control because of the influence of the wind. Just a little much pressure as the Takapuna defense were bearing down. So a timeout's been called. Takapuna having used their second timeout for the game. Can be a very tactical option, considering that a timeout allows the offense to set up on initiation of play again. So in an instance like this where a turn was generated and some of the Takapuna players were maybe out of position because they were still further back downfield, or upfield rather, calling that timeout gives an opportunity for them to reset for an end zone strategy, particularly as the disc will come back in very, very, very close to the Takapuna scoring end zone. And so they might have used that timeout to specify a play or an intended receiver, some element of strategy, and it gets everyone in position where, had play continued, the stall count might have been as high as 6 or 7 by the time everybody was in position to initiate an end zone offensive move. Forced to reset as the defensive coverage by Katikati College shuts down any end zone plays. Barnes unable to secure that reset, but pressure on that mark. The little foot flash enough for Katikati to turn the disc, giving Takapuna another option, but further away from the zone this time, closer to the halfway mark. Williams to start in that handler space. Big high angle forehand over the top. Of another Williams player, giving Katikati College possession. One Katikati player streaking deep. Some great momentum swinging in favor of Katikati College, but perhaps a little bit more pace than necessary. And we're seeing Takapuna do the same thing. A very, very close game like this one can cause some of these small errors to start stacking up, particularly as players are looking to widen or narrow a margin based on their current score. So Katikati Byford and Spur working together to try and make that disc move. A big shot up top. A little bit of an angle. Hudson gets it, threads one through. Great score there by Spur. Or perhaps not a score. Nope. It's called in by Takapuna as well. So the score will go to 4-4. We'll see that again. Hudson with a nice inside forehand. Straight through. Getting that from another angle. Really a fantastic throw, a great option. Jumped comfortably in by Spur for Katikati to tie the game again and bring Katikati down on defense for the next point. Low pull, bit of skim. But Katikati College have established a defense. Barnes making a great fake and cut to receive on the far sideline. Nice high forehand. A lot of players underneath it. Simpkin on the mark, making a great reception earlier before the turn. Chris with a run through D, despite the best efforts of Nicholson for Katikati to advance the offense. Finn Barnes, right on the edge of the zone, looking for a player to generate enough separation. Instead, resets to Boniface, who finds Barnes on an upline cut to score another point, going 5-4 over Katikati College now. A close game. A very dynamic game. We're seeing some great strategic Frisbee being played here. Some fantastic movement by some of these young players to get them into great position to support their teammates for either resets or scores. Boniface with a great pull. Fielded by Arundel to Spur. Nicholson under pressure. Arundel to Hudson. Nicholson again. Seeing that same zone pressure from Takapuna. Threading one through to find Spur. Great big swings. Trying to use the width of the field as much as possible. Trying to move the zone. A big forehand bomb. It finds hand. But Takapuna able to generate that turn. Simpkin making a big fake, trying to initiate something downfield. Finds Barnes instead. Simpkin's gone for it. A great chase. Spur with the disc. A bit high. A little bit too high for Hudson there, as he tries to keep that one in bounds. Williams for Takapuna. Great vision seeing that cut develop. The throw not quite there. Nicholson and Spur trying to work around the zone defense. Bollingford getting involved. Some great Katikati disc movement that we're seeing here. Bollingford again keeps it secure. A little bit of bobble, but it's nothing that his hands can't handle. Spur threads one through to Bollingford despite the pressure from Simkin. Nicholson behind as a reset on that near sideline. Oh, fantastic work by the Katikati team to just chip around that zone defense. Nice, low inside forehand. Over the hands of three. Katikati with a nice opportunity to tie the game. Pushed slightly back. Bollingford on that near sideline. To Nicholson. Works around that zone pressure. Finding Spur, but still pinned along that sideline. Nicholson there. Hudson with a read. Doesn't make it, but Spur's there to clean up the second option. Fantastic work by Katikati College to bring the score to 5-all. As we close out the 30th minute of the game. 20 minutes remaining on the clock. Still a race to 15. Still anyone's game. Possibly the most competitive game that we've seen thus far. Teams trading back and forth. Nice forehand pull from Bollingford. The signal was given to brick the disc, so it'll come in about halfway across the width of the field, maybe 15 meters in front. Boniface with a mighty forehand. Arundel gets up and says, not today. Responds with a long bomb of his own. Hudson just outside of the zone. Great pressure from Takapuna to seal that one off. Great reset by Takapuna. Finn Barnes with the disc center field. Targeting the side nearest to the bottom of your screen. Being slowly pushed back by the Katikati College team some fantastic defensive work that we're seeing here. Sends the long bomb anyway. Great attempt at a second bid by Care. Looks like there may have been contact on that play, so Katikati will retain possession after the foul was not contested. Bollingford to Nicholson. Bit of contact on that leap. Barnes making great height, but still making contact with Arundel. And so again, players will have the conversation, resolve the conflict.
And you can ask the perspective from the sidelines from your coach or from the players. Well, if you were in this zone here and you got contact, so your space is up through here. Come over the top and you're in this space. So if you feel there was a foul, you've made a foul call, you have the option to say whether you're...
So a little discussion on the field happening at the moment. Just trying to figure out exactly where the contact occurred, how it occurred. Sideline perspective pointing out that you are entitled to the space above your own head. But with no resolution, a contested play will return. The disc will return to the last uncontested point. So before that throw was made, Nicholson's going to have the disc on that far sideline. Instead of the long option this time, finds Nicholson. Decides maybe short passes are the way to go this time. Swipe by Boniface, not enough. Bollingford to receive on the far sideline. Slows down, pops one right across to Arundel for the score. Oh, seems to have been called a straddle by the opposition. Cleaned up by Bollingford anyway. Great score there for Katikati College as they go 6-5 over Takapuna. Less than 15 minutes left before our soft cap arrives. At which point we will finish the point being played, add one to the highest score, and teams will race to that number. Considering how closely contested this game is, it might very well be a tie up until the last possible moment. We're going to see Katikati coming down on defense now. Sean Nicholson with the disc. The signal of readiness is given. Boniface and Williams to initiate that offense. Big backhand huck. Great pressure there by Arundel to box Boniface out. It goes up anyway for the bid, but it comes off the fingertips. A great turn there for Katikati College. Bollingford with a leading pass. Pulled down by Nicholson. To Bollingford again. Stall count getting a little bit high there. A lot of pressure from the Takapuna defense. A little bit of air bounce, a little bit of touch on that throw, able to work it around the defense. But a travel was called, so as the sport of ultimate, players aren't able to run with the disc. They have to establish a pivot point. Typically, it's the foot opposite to your throwing hand, left foot for right-handed throwers. If a player moves that pivot point from where they've established it, that constitutes a travel. Arundel near the far sideline. Forehand to Bollingford. Some great vision there. Running onto the disc. The Takapuna defense shuffling to get into a position. A high backhand. A lot of players underneath. Arundel goes up over his own teammate to bring that one down. Up by 2 now as Katikati College goes 7-5. Nice pull. A little bit out of bounds there. So there's an opportunity to brick the disc. Williams and Klein to initiate the offense for the Takapuna side. Buttons with a great undercut to receive. Pushes back to the other side. Great bid there by Kerr. Not quite enough. Katikati with a great opportunity now to widen that margin. Byford closing out. Oh, just outside of the zone. Finding Bryden. But a travel was called. We'll see that again. Katikati College finish anyway. Bryden to Nicholson now. After the call was result, it appears to have been a straddle. So the throw, the initial throw is made from within the end zone, which is an invalid throw. The travel called to move the player back out of the end zone before they could reinitiate play. Katikati College able to close that one out regardless, taking their score to 8-5 and taking half-time. So we'll take a short break before coming back to the second half between this hotly contested nail-biter of a match between Katikati College and Takapuna Grammar. You may have paid for your whole seat, but you're only using the edge. My name is Blair Monroe. I'm here with Stream Shop and SkysportNext, and we'll be back for the rest of our coverage very shortly. So some quick initiation as we start the second half here. Takapuna to Boniface. Great threaded shot through to Barnes for a fantastic score. First point of the second half going to Takapuna after some very, very quick and clever disc movement to work around the Katikati College defense. We're going to see that again. Fantastic point. Reading the cut as it develops, floating a disc out into space. We'll see that again. There's just enough separation, despite a great effort by Bryden to pursue. The score 8-6. Takapuna to come out on defense now, as the game's tightening up. A very, very high pull, looking like it's heading almost straight towards me. It fades back into the field. So we are seeing that zone defense. Boniface taking a great early bid. And then a second attempt at that defense. Finn Barnes going up to keep that one in possession. Williams with a laser beam through to Kerr. And a second. Williams and Barnes really working together. A lot of experience playing together. Just enough pressure from Spur to spook Boniface. Spur to initiate the offense now against the Takapuna zone. Huge amount of pressure. We've seen it successful so far. Looks like they've moved back to that defense to try and generate some extra turns as they've started to notice a deficit in the point scores. Nicholson, Spur, pinned down in that corner, goes over the top of the zone, an option available when there's wind is very, very low like it is today. Works through Bollingford. Flat shot, and Spur follows it up just outside the zone. Hudson. A little bit of discussion as to whether or not that reception was in the bounds of the zone or not. Looks like the point has been given by Takapuna. They've conceded that. The score now 9-6 in favour of Katikati College. 3.5 minutes left in our clock before we hit soft cap. Great pull there by Katikati College. Barnes with a nice half-field gainer. Klein calling contact on the throw. So he'll retain possession. Uncontested by Hudson for Katikati College. Finds Williams again, winds up the hammer, holsters it. Boniface to Klein. Very, very close to a necessary point for Takapuna. Great pass there by Williams for the score. Finding Boniface in that front corner. 2 minutes left on the clock before we establish a new points cap. Still currently a race to 15. just enough separation to secure that without any interference from the Katikati College defense. So 9-7 as Takapuna take the point. Still in favor of Katikati, but still anybody's game. Great pull. A lot of float underneath that, giving Takapuna plenty of time to get in position. Looking to isolate those individuals in a person or match defense. Huge amount of pressure from Takapuna. But Katikati College are able to reset. Nicholson with the disc now, marked by Barnes. Great pressure there, forcing a territorial option. Katikati College working the disc downfield, forcing Takapuna to have a longer journey to glory. 40 seconds remaining on the clock. Great reception there. Boniface to Barnes. Needing to close this one out. Barnes on the far sideline now. Great vision. Goes over the top of the heads of the Takapuna offense. There goes our hooter. So we will conclude this point, and then it will be a race to the highest score +1. If Takapuna score this next point, it is a race to 10. If Katikati score this point, it will be a race to 11. Great coverage by the defense. An impressive bid. Not quite enough. Katikati with a long shot out. Cleanly intercepted by Takapuna. Simpkin with the disc. Looks for Klein. Can't find him, looks for Barnes. Disc finds ground. Nicholson to Hudson for a great score. Katikati going up by another one. The score now 10-7. 11 points necessary to win. Hudson with a great pull for the defense. Barnes being forced towards the near sideline by the Takapuna defense. Throws one out, finds Care. A nice clean reset to Williams. Works the disc upfield, finding Boniface. Barnes now 5 meters out. Great interception there by Hudson. A high shot. Great pressure from Williams there to generate that turn right on the edge of another point for Takapuna's side. Great defense there by Katikati College, applying just enough pressure that just doesn't find the hands of Barnes. Katikati College, 1 point away from glory. A laser beam, a lot of heat on that disc. Finding the turf. Takapuna with an opportunity here. Great, two players working the disc up. A layout grab. The dynamics. It's hard to be mad at an ultimate point that looks that good. Kerr giving his teammates the thumbs up, putting body on the line. You can't be mad at that. The score now, 10 for Katikati College to Takapuna's 8. Still a race to 11. Takapuna to come down on defense now. We'll get that from a better angle. It really does make the heart sore. Sometimes the only way out is to lay out. Williams, Barnes, Kerr on the Takapuna defensive line. Boniface. The pull goes just out of bounds. The signal to brick is given. So the disc again will come in about halfway across the width of the field. Barnes and Nicholson. The opening move of this point. Nicholson to Nicholson. Great long shot. A little bit of air underneath that. Starts to curve the disc away. Becomes a little bit harder to read, a little bit harder to catch up with. Exactly what Takapuna were looking for. Barnes in the center field. Boniface. Fantastic grab there. And extension by Barnes to close that one out. 10-9. 1 point in the game. See that again. A fantastic aerial grab. Quick offload. Takapuna must be proud of a point like that. Once more onto the breach as Takapuna Grammar come out on defense, having clawed their way back from a 3-point deficit as the game draws to its final moments. Some great defense on display by Takapuna here today. Both teams ready. Bollingford, every other touch on the desk at the moment, putting in a lot of work to keep that moving around. Nicholson, a lot of pressure from that defense. Spur nearly trapped on the sideline, manages to cut one through. Great attempt at a greatest, leaving the field into the unknown, into out of bounds. Hoping to contact the disc back infield for one of his teammates to receive. Unsuccessful, but there's no denying the ambition and the heart that it takes to make a move like that in the first place. Barnes slightly overthrown to Boniface. Katikati College with a great opportunity to close out the game for themselves now. Arundel, a high-edged forehand. Small territorial gain.
Not too deep. Come forward, please, stack.
Williams on the near sideline. Again, we're seeing that Williams-Barnes connection a lot. Barnes on a great initial undercut. Gaining 10, 15 meters. Great throw, but intercepted by Katikati College. Pressure on that defense now. Bryden and Spur. Great bid there by Arundel, trying to keep that one alive. Williams with a big shot. Boniface for the grab as we go to our first Universe point on stream. The soft cap is gone. The race is to 11. As the score goes 10-10, there is only one more point in this game to be played. Fantastic jump in score. A tied game belonging to anyone. Belonging to the only team who can summon the heart, the will, the strength to work together in pursuit of a common goal. And we've seen fantastic defense on display from Takapuna. They've scored a couple of consecutive breaks as the game closes out. Neither side showing any real signs of fatigue. Williams with a big pull. It's going to peel back. Inbounds, but just shy of halfway. Katikati College only a short field now to work up. Nicholson to Bollingford. Great close there by Nicholson. Despite an impressive bid by Kerr. Katikati College taking the game on Universe point over Takapuna Grammar. We could not have asked for a better second game of the day. So hotly contested, trading, breaking, opening the score margin, narrowing the score margin. Just some fantastic athleticism, disc confidence, trust in teammates on display here. Some great communication. We saw quite a few calls during that game, but the teams gave a lot of effort to make sure they were resolved as quickly and cleanly as possible. A fantastic result for both of these teams. Hopefully when they go back and watch the coverage of the game, they'll both be proud of everything they were able to achieve. But for now, my name is Blair Munro. I'm here with Stream Shop and Sky Sport Next, and we will be back with you shortly to cover the final for our girls division at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Ultimate Championships held in sunny, beautiful Crown Park in Taupō.